Hi, have 5 minutes? Let's make a page using only these scraps. Hi friends, today I have a 12 by 12 page for you that's simple, relatively quick, and uses up your scraps. I'm documenting a photo of myself in part of our garden. I've been so lucky to have been able to garden for the 5th year in a row, so thinking I'd like to mimic my garden gives me an idea to stitch a sun on my page. I drew a half circle where I wanted it and poked offset holes to be the rays with my awesome stabby tool from Amber. Now it's time to thread the needle and get to stitching. To be honest, this part took the longest, so I just took my page over to the TV and parked myself there for a good 10 to 15 minutes. You know, it's funny because my mother actually taught me to embroider when I was about 3 to 4 years of age, and I really remember enjoying it, but once I learned to read books, I never really looked back. So now in keeping in theme with my page, I'm going to take my dark green segment and flip it over because there's a badge I want to fussy blade out and use on my page to repeat the yellow element of the sun that I have in the center right there. From here, I'll take my remaining scraps and tear them into strips. I chose the colors I did because they're similar to the colors in the background of my photo. So my idea is to make it appear as though the photo is continuing outside of its borders through the colors of my torn paper. Speaking of which, it took me a good while to learn how to tear paper in a pretty way, which sounds silly to me because it's, torn paper. The way I do it, and I've learned, is to take it in both hands and whichever side of the paper I'm not keeping, tearing it upward to leave that cool looking white crest on the very top of the paper. So usually I tear upwards with my right hand and end up using the piece in my left hand, if that makes sense. Now the pieces are a bit uneven, but I'll work towards evening them out. But first, I want to make sure I have enough scraps left over to make a repeat torn element in the corner of my page. And since I have a limited amount of paper, I definitely don't want to waste it. At first, I think I'd like to place that element in the top right-hand corner, but for some reason it doesn't look right to me. So I actually, after mounting my main element to my sun, end up placing it in the bottom right-hand corner and deciding I want to do a bit of journaling in that top right-hand corner. That way it gives me a little bit more room to really write out what I'd like to say. And of course, flipping over my scrap, I do see an awesome title that I'd like to include on my page. So I fussy bladed it out and I lifted it with some foam adhesive tape. It says, "Every day I'm hustling," and really is true. Working a garden is no small feat. Especially in the Pacific Northwest, there is tons of rain, which unfortunately, but fortunately, makes for rich soil, so there are ferocious weeds. It begets tons of thick roots, and every year you're just worked to the bone trying to till the land and make it ready for your fruits and vegetables. But of course, it's completely worth it. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope this gave you a bit of inspiration to use some of your scraps today for a relatively quick page. I really enjoy stretching my scrappy imagination and trying everything once to make pages that are fun and a little bit different, so if this sounds right up your alley, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I'll see you next time. Bye!